Hi guys, welcome back to Afropop E Entertainment News, and I want to talk about Tyla getting exposed by the Breakfast Club. So not last week, but some few weeks ago, Tyla went to the Breakfast Club, which is one of the radio stations in the United States, and she was being interviewed by some of the presenters there, including DJ Envy and Charlamagne, and just hilarious. So this was just a normal interview, but it so happened that Tyla refused to answer some questions, and she kind of had an attitude, and it's like there are some questions she didn't want to answer, and there are some questions which she was irritated by, and this caused this interview to get so much attention from the general public, because some people felt that were wondering, why don't you want to answer some questions? Why are you refusing to answer some questions? Why do you have an attitude when you're asked some questions? And so I thought this story had died, but apparently Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club, they're not over it. So recently Charlamagne went on another interview, and he brought up how Tyla's team was so demanding, and they actually told him not to ask her some questions. And now Tyla is once again getting backlash, and her team is also getting backlash, because people feel that why would you go for an interview if you don't want to be asked certain questions? So I'm just going to attach some of the videos here so that you can see for yourself what's going on, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. For starters, let me attach the video of Tyla refusing to be asked some questions about her racial background. This has caused so much uproar. It's crazy, honestly. Why do people care so much, you know? I wonder, like...
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too. I like when they talk from the back and say we can't. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's even better. All right, Tyla.
Wasn't that bad, was it?
No.
Good?
I'm good. Why you guys?
We got some more
because the
label.
I want you to know this for other interviews, right? Okay. When they go in and they tell like the interviewers what to say and what not to say, this and that. That's what makes it awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not. Are you awkward?
No.
I'm not awkward.
Mm-mm. You want to see all the questions they told us not to ask?
Yo, leave her alone, man. Stop it.
This one must leave the room.
Stop it. My goodness.
This one must go.
It's the worst ever working with him. I work with him every day.
Yeah.
Well, Tyla's album is
much
out
success
right now.
to you, Tyla.
Yes,
Thank
girl.
you.
So as you can see, Tyla is asked, are you colored or black? And she refuses to answer the question. She's not rude, really. She just looks back and keeps quiet. And then Charlamagne, he was acting weird. If you ask me, what do you mean? I like that. I like that. I don't know. Maybe my mind is a bit dirty, but it just sounded off. What do you mean? Why do you keep repeating what you like? I like when they look at me from the back. That was weird. Anyway, so this created so much uproar and public discourse, because people are wondering, why isn't Tyla responding to the question? This is a moment for you to educate the people on your racial background. But I understand and side with Tyla on this, because number one, it's not her job to educate anyone on anything. Her job, she signed up to be an artist. And if she starts focusing on other things, such as racially educating the whole of America, who has time for that? She's not even getting paid to do that. So she has prioritized her time. She's like, I came here to do this, and this is what I want to do. I don't have time to do that. And also, we are not going to lie that we have not seen the conversations online. She spoke about being colored, and clearly people are not open to understanding what she was trying to say, and they'd rather be fixed on the view that she meant it maliciously. It's like, she's like, ew, black people, I'm not black, ew, I'm colored, I'm different from you guys. And I don't think that's what she meant. And not just Tyla, but even South Africans have tried to explain to everyone what Tyla meant, and people keep acting dense, like they don't get what they're saying. And even if I were Tyla, I wouldn't keep repeating myself. It's like, at this point, am I begging you to understand me? It's either you get it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Sometimes someone can be so committed to not understanding you, and it's important to notice when someone is committed to not understanding you, because it will save you time. I've been in situations like that where you're talking to someone, just to realize in the middle of talking to them that, you know what, this person, even before I started talking, they had already made a verdict. So Breakfast Club has been so quick to defend themselves, and I've attached a video of them explaining how Tyla came back to clear her name on how she refused to answer the question.
So Tyla addresses her colored identity. Yesterday we had an interview with South African superstar Tyla. During the interview, Charlamagne asked a question that her team didn't allow her to answer. We have the audio from that.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not, por favor?
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too. I like when they talk from the back and say we can't. I like that. I like the character. That's good. That's even better.
Yo. Well, that clip started to go viral shortly after we aired the interview. Tyla eventually decided to clear the air and shared a post to her Instagram story. And she said, "Yo, guys, never denied my blackness. I don't know where that came from. I'm mixed with black, Zulu, Irish, Mauritian, Indian, and colored. In South Africa, I would be classified as a colored woman. In other places, I would be classified as a black woman. Race is classified differently in different parts of the world." I do agree with that. She also said, "I don't expect to be identified as colored outside of South Africa by anyone. Not comfortable doing so because I understand the weight of that word outside of South Africa. But to close this conversation, I'm both colored in South Africa and a black woman."
Yeah, people were upset with, the questioning and the fact that she didn't answer. But
yeah,
like I tell everybody, the questions that we ask are from things that are out there. She did an interview a couple of years ago when people were asking about it. So, of course, when she came up here, we had to ask her about it. Now, I don't understand why she didn't answer that in the interview. That was confusing. Like, why just not say that?
And you doing press, you know what I'm saying? So, like, her label or manager or whoever, just got to get her training because it's different ways to pivot from what you don't want to answer.
Correct.
Instead of just looking at somebody or having somebody come from, because remember when Charlamagne did Donkey of the Day for the dude on CNN, like, yo, like you had somebody wave you down in an interview.
Right.
To be like, yo, nah, we ain't talking about that.
But
it's press, like
still
you said. Aired it.
Yeah, but it's press, like you said.
You're a superstar.
Yes, you know what they're going to ask you. You know they're going to ask you some questions about your album, but you know they're going to ask you about the BS too, and you got to be able to answer those questions as well.
Yeah, so to come with like a whole list like of 9 or 10 things that we can't talk about when that's really all like majority of people were like really no.
Exactly.
That was a little crazy, but yeah. So that I would have preferred that she said that, but just a little media training, get her right, she be alright.
So I'm getting that the Breakfast Club are not happy with Tyla. It's like they feel like she embarrassed them or something because they're not letting this go. And I won't lie, I think that's a bit interesting. I didn't think it was so embarrassing for the Breakfast Club, but who knows what's at stake. So they have been coming out to clear their name. At first, you can see that clip that Jess Hilarious posted saying that Tyla clears the air on dodging a question, blah, blah, blah. And then today we have several clips of Charlamagne complaining and clearly irritated by Tyla's team and how they restricted them asking questions. You can see I've attached the videos here. This is something that really bothered him and I guess the entire team. And I guess Tyla and her team need to review how they do interviews and maybe they should not be too demanding, and both the radio station and the artists need to meet each other halfway. So check out what Charlamagne had to say about Tyla's team. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think Charlamagne is complaining? Do you think Tyla's team was too demanding? I'd really like to hear you guys' views about this because people are split into half.
That sometimes, depending what it is, like if it's something like really personal, really serious, something I know is traumatizing, I'll be like, sure, I'll oblige. For this one, I said no.
Yeah.
And the reason I said no, they had 6 things they didn't want us to ask. You want to know what those 6 things were?
Yeah.
They didn't want us to ask about Kai Cenat. The whole "we friends though" thing.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Okay.
They didn't want us to ask about her not being on tour with Chris Brown anymore. They didn't want us to ask about the color thing.
Injury.
They didn't want us to ask about her injury that she sustained. What else was it? They didn't want to ask us about who she was dating, which I wouldn't do anyway. And what was the other one? It was one it was just all frivolous
and
stuff.
Why? What are they trying to do? They're trying to protect an image that they're curating for her?
I have no idea. And that's why I said...
Oh, but the Rihanna thing, comparing.
Oh, yeah. And comparison. And it wasn't even Rihanna. It just said comparisons to other pop artists. Huh?
Oh, so they're trying to separate her from Kai Cenat. She's her own individual. Don't tie her to him.
And you want me to not ask her about Kai Cenat the day after Kevin Hart just was on Kai Cenat show again with
Bringing
a big
it up.
ass sign that said "We friends" though?
Yeah.
Like, come on, yo. So I said to them, no.
Oh.
Now, when I say no, I'm not going to oblige any of this. It is your job then, label, management, whoever, to either prepare the artist for the questions or pull the interview.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm fine with either or.
Yeah.
I've already told you I'm not going to follow any of this.
Yes.
So when you see suckers out there,
Yeah.
suckers are saying things like, you know, he asked every question they asked him not to ask.
Yeah.
It's because I'm not a sucker.
Yeah.
Right? And being that I'm not a sucker for record labels,
Yeah.
I have a job to do, and my job
Yeah.
is for the people. So imagine, right, if I'm sitting around and I'm having a conversation, you know, if we have these conversations, and then all in the comments, it's like, why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that? Why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that?
Yeah.
I got a job to do to the people.
Yeah.
My job, my integrity with the people will always matter more than my integrity with a goddamn record label.
Yeah. And also the label's using you.
100%. But you know, you have a lot of people that don't do that. You have a lot of radio personalities, a lot of journalists, a lot of people who care more about those relationships with the labels than they do relationships with the actual audience.
And it shows.
And it shows.
Yeah.
And not only does it show, you show your card.
Yeah.
When you say that, when you say the label asked him not to do it and he did it anyway. So the fuck what?
Yeah.
After I told the label I ain't following that shit.
So they knew.
They
so
knew.
why are they complaining?
Their job was to prepare their client or pull the interview.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fine with either or.
You want to be qualified. You want to be validated by doing the Breakfast Club. You're an artist in the culture. You want that experience on the Breakfast Club, but you want to control the interview. I don't think you can ask to do both things. You can ask as a favor, and then it's up to you to decide if you want to oblige or not. But if you say that you don't want to do the interview in that way, then you don't have to do it.
And you know how many interviews we've turned down when they be like, yo, you can't ask about this,
I'm not interested.
I'm not interested. Because maybe now's not the time for that artist. If that artist isn't ready to talk about these things, I don't want to have that conversation because it'll make us look crazy because certain things you got to talk about.
Yeah. Now
So
you
to
can
wrap this up, I think that Tyla and her team need to reconsider their approach to being interviewed. So many people are saying that if someone doesn't want to be asked certain questions, maybe they should not do an interview. But I'd also like to say that after this interview with the Breakfast Club, Tyla did another interview with Kelly Clarkson show, and she seemed to have really enjoyed that interview. So I guess it's not only Tyla's team that's at fault here. Radio presenters should also not be too messy, you know. Sometimes ask some lukewarm questions. Things don't always have to be messy. You don't have to ask about Kai Cenat. You don't have to ask about Harris. Some topics are just too messy. I get that you want the views. I get that you want to trend, but I guess you also have to consider the artist and their reputation and what's at stake. So in this situation, I think that everyone should meet each other halfway. The artist should not be too bland, too boring, but also the radio presenters should not be too selfish and only consider their interests